Music!
Ace of Spades by Motorhead, Stand Up and Shout by Dio, Battery by Metallica, all classic examples of great album opening tracks in metal. When it comes to creating mighty album opening tracks, Judas Priest are pretty much untouchable, and that has made it so difficult to put together a top 10 list of the greatest Judas Priest openers. But I have. It was a hell of a job. A lot of writing down track titles on index cards, switching them around, getting frustrated. A lot of walking around for a couple of weeks with all of these tracks on shuffle play. But now I think I have the perfect list. I'm also going to future-proof this video by telling you where the new Judas Priest song, Panic Attack, would be on this list if Panic Attack turns out to open the next Judas Priest album, Invincible Shield. At number 10 is the song Sinner from 1977's Sin After Sin. Now, here's an important thing to say about the criteria I've used. I've been judging these tracks as album opening tracks as they were recorded on these records. Sinner I really like, that's obvious because it's at number 10, but there are live versions of the song that make it sound so much better, I think. I'm not a huge fan of the rather dry and small production of Sin After Sin. Sorry if you disagree with me there, sorry, not sorry. Get down in comments, tell me that I'm a fool. But the song itself is great, obviously, and it's really unique and unusual. It's a special Judas Priest song, there's no doubt about that, and it opens the album very well indeed. Moving on to number 9, we have the title track of 2017's Firepower record. Yeah, it starts with a great riff, really strong production from Andy Sneap, and it's a really good, down-the-line Judas Priest album opening track, with a bit of melody as well, memorable and powerful. It packs quite a bit of firepower, in fact, funnily enough. Number 8 is Exciter, the opening track from 1978's Stained Class. Now, again, I don't think the production, to be honest, is very good here. Exciter sounds a lot better when played live, as far as I'm concerned, and that's probably part of the reason why Exciter is at the lower end of this top 10 list. But what a great song. It's a real proto-speed metal song. I mean, without Exciter, would Metallica have been quite the same band? It definitely inspired a whole load of bands, this song, because it's by far the fastest song Priest had made up until that point. And it's got a great dual guitar solo. Absolutely brilliant song. Stand by for Exciter. And if you don't like Exciter, then you must simply get down on your knees and repent, if you please. Track number 7 in this top 10 list is Heading Out to the Highway, a great mid-tempo, chuggy Judas Priest opener. You don't get many mid-tempo openers of Judas Priest albums. They tend to be up-tempo blasters. So the band made quite an unusual choice for their 1981 album, Point of Entry, and it's a classic Priest song. Classic Rob Halford lyrics about being free and doing your own thing and having nothing to lose at all. In fact, I kind of think of it as a sister song to You've Got Another Thing Coming. Similar kind of song, similar kind of riff. Number 6, I don't know how controversial this still will be as a choice, but Turbo Lover, the opening song from the 1986 album Turbo. And what a great opening song this is for an unusual album, to say the least, for Judas Priest. It's certainly the best song on the album, although there's one deep cut that I'm going to talk about in an upcoming Judas Priest Deep Cuts video. Yeah, Turbo Lover is just like nothing at all that Priest had ever made, and I think it's all the stronger for that. And it's a really powerful song in its own right. I really like the synths. But the number one, the greatest thing about Turbo Lover for me is the guitar solo. One of the greatest things Priest ever did. It's just beautiful. What a beautiful guitar solo that is. Since we've reached the halfway point in our top 10, this would be a splendid time for you to subscribe to Possessed by Metal to make sure you don't miss another video. Now, this next track at number 5 in the list kind of surprised me by how far up the list it landed. In fact, for a while, it was one spot higher. It's the title track of Ramit Down. I really like the Ramit Down album. There's a couple of great deep cuts on that one that I'll be talking about. In complete contrast to the previous album, Turbo, Ramit Down starts off with a blood-curdling scream from Halford, followed by super fast guitars, and then hell for leather drums that come in sooner than you expect them to, which I love. Much like many of the other songs on the album, it's a brilliant metal anthem. And the guitar solos are incredible, with KK Downing and Glenn Tipton clearly dueling, trying to outdo each other, and there's some truly crazy guitar lead work there. Yes, great opening track, perfect. Also perfect at number 4 is Freewheel Burning from Defenders of the Faith. Weirdly, I didn't truly get Freewheel Burning for quite a while, but then all of a sudden I loved it, and I don't know what happened there. Something popped in my brain, and I accepted it as the brilliant, speedy opening song to Defenders of the Faith that it always was. You know, great guitar work, straight down the line speed, great vocals from Halford, a real anthem. And in terms of its motorbike obsession, obviously the brother to the classic Hell Bent for Leather. I especially love the drum fill just before the second verse comes in. That's an absolutely brilliant moment. Such precision. The whole song comes to a halt, and then they're back in the second verse. By the way, as an aside, I tend to think that the best moment in any given song is the moment when the first chorus goes back into the verse, into the second verse. If you've ever thought that, then get down in comments and I won't feel quite so alone. We have reached the top 3. The third greatest Judas Priest album opening track of all time is Painkiller. Yes, Painkiller. I'm a bit surprised. At one point I thought that Painkiller was going to be the number 1. But I think there's a factor that time has slightly blunted the impact of the song Painkiller. The killer factor for me was when I was walking around listening to all these opening tracks on my headphones. When Painkiller came on, there was just an ever so slightly sinking feeling in my soul because a song is just a bit too long. It goes on a bit and it ends with a sort of ending you'd end a song with live. I really wish that Painkiller kind of battered down the front door and then smashed out through the back door before it had a chance to outstay its welcome. The first 2 or 3 minutes of the song is just some of the best things that Priest have ever done. And clearly I'm ranking it at number 3 in a list of 18 songs. Painkiller is fantastic. But I do think that there are 2 album opening songs by Priest that are even better than Painkiller. What are they? Well, number 2 is a combination of 2 tracks, smushed together, The Hellion and Electric Eye. Now, here's the thing. I think that if the production on Screaming for Vengeance had been better, then I think Electric Eye probably would be number 1 because it is the perfect Priest opening track, and that's why it still opens a lot of Priest sets to this day, I think, doesn't it? But the performance of the song on Screaming for Vengeance, I think, is actually quite polite. The opening riffs of Electric Eye are just some of my favourite riffs ever. I love that kind of riff. And my favourite Priest songs tend to be the ones where there's an opening riff like that, and then later on it comes back in, breaking the law, being a very prime example, and Electric Eye is a great example of that. But after those amazing opening riffs, the riff that follows, when the song settles down into a riff, is a bit leisurely. It's a bit too leisurely, you know, whereas when the band play it live, it's a lot stronger, I think. So that might be the only reason why Electric Eye isn't at number 1, because I'm judging it for the recording on this particular album. I'm really sorry if you're convinced I'm about to say Victim of Changes. I'm not. I totally recognise that Victim of Changes is a great and absolutely unique, epic Judas Priest track. It's just I've never personally been that much into it. Sorry about that. Sorry. In my opinion, Judas Priest's best album opening track of all time is Rapid Fire from 1980's British Steel album. It's the perfect opening track. It's a mystery to me why Rapid Fire didn't just become like a staple of every Judas Priest live set. I know the band are so good at actually digging deep cuts and unexpected songs out of their repertoire for the live arena, but for me, Rapid Fire should always be in there. And it's the perfect opening song as well because it just doesn't hang about. It does what I wanted Painkiller to do. It slams through the front door and then smashes out the back door like the final scene in The Evil Dead before you know what's hit you. And those riffs, down, low, down, 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 low, down. That is pure metal, isn't it? And I love the lyrics in this song. You know, the slipping and sliding, corrosive subsiding. Halford is absolutely in his element here, talking about just basically molten metal. He's singing about sort of nothing and everything at the same time. Rapid Fire is an absolute statement of intent for the rest of the British Steel album. But wait, don't move on to the next video yet, because I promised you, didn't I, that I would tell you where Panic Attack would rank in this list if it turns out that Panic Attack does indeed open the next Judas Priest album, their 19th album, Invincible Shield. And I would have to put Panic Attack at number 5. So that would put it between Ramit Down at number 6 and Freewheel Burning at number 4. That would push The Poor Sinner out the top of the top 10, I'm afraid. And so that's pretty amazing. For a band who's been around for so long, Priest can come out with a track that's potentially opening their new album. I genuinely don't know. And it goes in at number 5 in terms of their all-time greatest album openers. You may be delighted with this top 10 list, or you may be seething with rage. Either way, get down in comments, let's talk about it. Invincible Shield is out in March 2024. Have a look here for a video I made that tells you 10 things we know about that record. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to stay possessed by metal.